good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve, and it's great to have you back on this channel, and I hope you find this evening's topic interesting, because it is quite an interesting turn of events, because Donald Trump has just lost in court his ability to block people on Twitter. Apparently this is one of Donald Trump's things that he likes to do, is to block anybody who doesn't agree with him or post negative comments about what he's been saying. And so anyway, it's ruled that this is your First Amendment rights to have freedom of speech, and because it is a public space, and this is the important part of this ruling, because it is a public space, you cannot block people just because you don't like what they say, because they have an oppositional point of view. And so this has really incredible ramifications throughout the whole social media crisis that's taking place right now, because that's exactly what's been happening, is that people's First Amendment rights have been stifled, and there is so many pieces now out there. The most blatant, the Project Veritas, where Jen Janai says basically we've been working since 2016 to change the algorithm to make sure that we don't have another Trump event take place. And so this ruling, I believe, is going to ripple through the social media platforms. And of course the Article 230, which is protects these platforms from being sued for copyright issues because they are platforms and not publishers. This is another thing that's coming towards these social media giants. And of course, Donald Trump is correct in this case that they are a monopoly. Google controls something like 90% of the internet traffic. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And so for them to be having some kind of bias or deciding to be publisher over what is said and what isn't said on the internet is a very scary thing indeed. And of course, within hours of this ruling, guess what? AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is getting sued for blocking people from her Twitter account. And so you can see that all of these congressmen and women are going to have to unblock all of those people who are making all of those rude but possibly accurate comments about their behaviour, what they're saying and what they're doing. And I'm hoping that this ripples up through Canada, because we have a similar problem in this country. And you know, I was reading an article about it the other day, and they were trying to justify the whole idea of blocking people who were angry or volatile or so on and so forth. You just cannot do on your own private account. Yes, that's a whole different ball of wax. And that was one of the president's arguments, that it is his private account. But many officials have said on many times that this is a public account, and this is to put the message out. He's using Twitter as a way to put out his message, to garner votes, to convince people to his way of thinking. And so it is a public forum. And these social media platforms are public forums. So this is absolutely great, good news that has just happened. And of course, interesting enough, this Thursday, the 11th, we have the Social Media Summit, which was put on by President Trump, and he has invited all of the, I would say, that the larger commentators, political commentators on YouTube and other social media platforms like Twitter and so on and so forth, to tell him what the problem is. And I think this is excellent, because I'm going to link below the new Corbett report video, The Secrets to Silicon Valley. And you will see in this excellently, brilliantly researched piece that Silicon Valley is basically controlled by the CIA and the NSA. Okay, so this is not the president, not the congressmen or women, not the people in the Senate. Oh no, the government. And there is an important distinction in that situation, that the government should be controlling these corporations through investment, through subsidies, and so on and so forth. So I hope you'll take the time to watch that video, and I've also linked a video of Tim Pool announcing that he's going to the White House, because one of the clips that I'm going to show you, well, let's go to those clips first and then we'll come back and I'll do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. The Telegraph. Federal court rules Donald Trump's practice of banning Twitter critics is unconstitutional. Donald Trump's practice of blocking Twitter users who criticize or mock him is unconstitutional, a US federal appeals court ruled on Tuesday. Mr. Trump, a prolific tweeter, has prohibited some members of the public from reading his posts after criticizing the US president. They include Rebecca Buckwalter, who was blocked by Mr. Trump after replying to one of his posts about winning the White House with a tweet, "To be fair, you didn't win the White House, Russia won it for you." The three-judge panel agreed with the lower court's ruling last year that the president was using viewpoint discrimination in violation of the constitutional rights of people with opposing views. The Second Circuit Appeals Court said that Mr. Trump had effectively created a public forum for official White House business. It comes after a group of Twitter users and the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University filed a lawsuit against the president, accusing him of improperly blocking comments from his political opponents. The plaintiffs, which included a University of Maryland professor, a Texas police officer, and a New York comic, said they were blocked from the @RealDonaldTrump account after posting tweets critical of his policies. Mr. Trump's legal team had argued that he is not acting in his official capacity when he blocks users, but the court disagreed. The president and multiple members of his administration have described his use of the account as official, the appeals court ruling said. We conclude that the evidence of the official nature of the account is overwhelming. We also conclude that once the president has chosen a platform and opened up its interactive space to millions of users and participants, he may not selectively exclude those whose views he disagrees with. The Justice Department, which represented the president, has the option to appeal the decision to the US Supreme Court, but has not yet commented on its next step. Yahoo News. AOC to be sued after court rules Trump can't block people on Twitter. Whoa, oh dear. After a federal court ruled Donald Trump could not constitutionally block people on Twitter, Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was threatened with a lawsuit for allegedly doing the same. The court found Mr. Trump blocking infringed on First Amendment rights to free speech, and that people had a right to see his posts, reply to his tweets, and send him messages. There you go. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Media Matters. Now, where have I heard that name before? Isn't that George's place, hangout spot that he invests in? But look at the way they present it. Here are the extremist figures going to the White House Social Media Summit. The Trump administration has invited multiple right-wing figures and conservative groups to a social media summit slated for July 11th. Some of these figures have ties with white nationalists and far-right figures, and others have pushed extremism and conspiracy theories themselves, such as the QAnon conspiracy theory, anti-Semitic attacks on George Soros, and smearing, targeting multiple Democratic presidential candidates. Okay, Facebook and Twitter were not invited to the summit. Fancy that. According to a July 7th CNN report, the White House has not extended invitations to Facebook and Twitter to attend its social media summit on Thursday. Oh my goodness. Well, if you watch the Corbett report, you'll understand why he didn't invite them, because that's just inviting the government to blur the whole issue. No, you need to hear people like Tim Pool. Okay, and go watch his video and you'll see what a moderate he is. And this from Politico. White House to hold social media summit amid Trump attacks. The White House will host digital leaders for a meeting next month amid President Donald Trump's escalating attacks on Google, Facebook and Twitter. The social media summit set for July 11th will focus on the opportunities and challenges of today's online environment, White House spokesman Judd Deere said. Deere did not answer questions about who is invited to the event. The announcement came the same day Trump said the federal government should file lawsuits against some of the tech giants. and the president has accused Google, Facebook and Twitter of being biased against him and other conservatives, a charge the companies have repeatedly denied. Look, we should be suing Google and Facebook and all that, which perhaps we will, Trump said during a phone interview on Fox Business. Trump has suggested the internet companies may run afoul of federal antitrust laws and floated possible enforcement action against them. Earlier this month, he suggested US regulators should levy massive fines against the tech giants, saying, obviously there is something going on in terms of monopoly in the sector. Representatives of Facebook and Twitter declined a comment on the White House summit, and Google did not immediately respond to a request for a comment on the event. If the tech companies are invited, it could force them to make a painful choice between subjecting themselves to a lashing by Trump and other conservatives, or staying away and risking a blowback for snubbing the president. Don't fall for it. I wouldn't invite them. And here is the YouTube video of Tim Pool, and I will be linking that below. And this from Gizmodo. Former Facebook workers. We routinely suppressed conservative news. There you go. And Tim will provide lots of other evidence of anti-conservative bias on social media platforms. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this out of any bias myself. I just think we should have a level playing field. If the left get to write op-eds on the president that are damning, then the right get to write op-eds on the Democrats that are damning. It's only fair and it's only common sense. Now, as I say, I hope you'll take the time to watch both of those videos, because you'll see that Tim Pool is a brilliant researcher. He has been a tireless foot soldier in this war against bias in the media and fair reporting. And you will find that he is completely unbiased. He's actually reporting as we used to report, where people just told the story and the consequences be damned. It doesn't matter whether it's left, right or in the middle. The story is the story, and what's been done has been done. And that, of course, is why I'm a political atheist. Okay, I only support good policy, not any particular party over another, because I know that when you start getting into the red, blue, the left, right, oh my God, you are really getting caught up in the labeling, and we should all really be concerned with good governance, not the labels that these people wear. Anyway, I think if you watch that video, you'll see what a mild-mannered, balanced personality Tim Pool is. I would highly recommend that you subscribe to his channel and listen to his reports. They are brilliantly researched, just like James Corbett. Brilliant research. And that's what I like about these channels myself. That's what attracts me to them, because not only are they very watchable, they have done some serious research into the background material. They have interviewed all kinds of people. Yes, well worth following. Certainly more open and more balanced than the mainstream media, caught up in their own unconscious bias. So this ruling will be, I think, flying back in the faces of the people who just wanted to get at Donald Trump and tell him that he couldn't block people. Well, that's right. And if it's good enough for the president, it's good enough for everybody else, including the social media platforms. So bravado the courts for upholding a lower court decision that you cannot block people in a public forum. Okay, well, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we will talk to you very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.